big deep breath for me. Release it. Hi, everybody. Hi, gang. Hi, friend. If you are here, I think things are really shitty. I'm going to use the word shitty. You're probably in it. Are you crying on a street corner? It's okay if you are. It's okay if you're not even out the door yet. Whether there's tears or not, it doesn't matter. I'm glad you're here. Hi. If we've never met, my name's Kelly Roberts. I'm a running coach. I'm also the former president of the I Fucking Hate Running Club. So I've cried on many a street corner before. And now I really, really, really love being that voice for anyone who needs it, because I know what you're feeling right now. We've all been there. And I think that's something that's really important to acknowledge. And we'll talk about that. I know it doesn't feel like it, but I promise you everyone has been there. I want to first just give you a hug. It's going to get better. It's going to be okay. I know a lot is happening right now, but do me a favor. What do you want to do right now? Do you want to stop? Because that's always an option. You always can stop. If you have the option this week, maybe to do this run another day, tomorrow, maybe another day in the future, let's do it. Otherwise, it's okay to end it. If today needs to be over or maybe you want to just walk, can we walk? It's okay to end it. It's okay to walk. It's also okay if you just want to take a break and catch your breath and catch your thoughts. Whatever you need, do that for yourself right now. That's what we're going to do. But I'm going to talk to you, okay? Here's where I want you to start. Imagine running your first marathon. You have no idea what to expect. You have no idea whether your training went well or not. You don't really have anyone in your life to talk to about running. There's no social media. You have blogs, but everyone's very fast. No one runs like you do. No one talks about crying on street corners for sure, the way that you've cried on many a street corner. And you're feeling very much like you don't belong. You're standing in line for a porta potty before the race begins, and two girls are standing in front of you. And they're talking about how they're so grateful that they're doing the half marathon and not the full, because, oh my God, was the full so hard last year. What a hard course. They never want to do that again. And you're thinking, what? What does that mean? Isn't a marathon always hard? What's a hard course? Oh my God, have I made a mistake? That's in your head. You start the race. You feel great. You're charging. You're cruising. It's happening. You're running a marathon. You're starting too fast, but you don't know what that means. You didn't know you can start too fast. You didn't know pacing was a thing. You're just trying to survive the thing. I'm talking about myself and my first time I ran a marathon, and I'm going somewhere, so stay with me. The day I ran my first marathon was such a circus. I had only been running for maybe 7 months and truly jumped into the I'm going to run from my problems end of the pool, the running pool. And I almost didn't even show up. I remember just laying in bed paralyzed that morning, and my dad, who was going to drive me to the starting line, checking on me and being like, "Hey, it's almost time to leave. You're not even up. What's going on?" And I was like, "I can't do this." And he was like, "Yes, you can. Get out of bed. I'll make you breakfast. What do you eat before you run a marathon?" And I said, "I don't know. What are you supposed to eat before you run a marathon?" And he was like, "I'm going to make you eggs and toast," because one, that's I think the only thing he knows how to make. But yeah, that's what he did for me. Well, I put my nipple guards on because I didn't know that only men wear those and women don't. And I put my 30 million energy gels into my 2 or 3 sports bras because I didn't have any pockets. It was so silly. And then I remember before I got out of the car, just feeling like I was going to throw up. I was so freaked out. And he said, "Life's made for participating. You just have to try to survive. Don't die." He said something like that. And I remember looking at him thinking do people die doing this? Is that something I actually need to be worrying about? So then I had that in my head. Am I about to am I putting myself in danger? And then those girls, when I was in line for the porta potties, and then I started too fast. And when I got to the halfway point, the half marathon, so a marathon is 2 half marathons. When I got to the halfway point, I remember exactly where I was. I was in San Diego, which is where I ran my first marathon. And I was standing on the overpass over the freeway near Mission Bay. It was like one stop before you get off to go to SeaWorld. And I was looking off in the distance. I was a little further than halfway, but you could see downtown San Diego where the finish line was. You saw the skyscrapers, and it looked impossibly far away. And I had a full-on panic attack, crying, couldn't breathe, freaked out. And some guy ran up beside me, and he grabbed my hand and gave me this like Disney Oscar award-winning motivational speech, and just gave me the lifeline I needed to keep putting one foot in front of the other, because I went out too fast. I didn't know that was a thing, but I did. I didn't know how to pace myself. I didn't know how to take fuel. I didn't know how to do anything. All I knew was I felt compelled to run a marathon, and I really wanted to do this marathon. And that one pep talk changed everything for me. So allow me to be that man for you. Allow me to be that person. Allow me to step in right now and just talk you off the cliff, talk you off the ledge, because sometimes our thoughts can be very, very powerful. And if you don't have the tools to work yourself off the ledge or get through the tunnel, it's easy to get lost in the tunnel. And I don't want you to get lost in the tunnel just because you're having a moment of doubt or just because you're having a moment of panic. This shit is really, really hard. Running is really, really hard. And it doesn't matter if you set out today for a 20-minute run or if you set out for your longest long run. It is really sneaky when a huge tidal wave of fear or doubt or anxiety or just feeling absolutely garbage smashes into you and knocks you off your feet. Right now, we're going to get our feet underneath us and we're going to get our bearings. We're going to stand up. So do me a huge favor. Take a big deep breath. You're okay. You're just doing something very hard. And how you're feeling right now is very, very normal. Everybody goes through this. Even if it doesn't seem like it, I promise you, everyone goes through this. Everyone, from the most experienced and fastest runners to the brand new runners, everybody across the board has a moment of sheer terror and doubt. And at some point or another, everyone cries on a street corner. If you're crying on a street corner, solidarity. We've all been there. It's okay. Good news is we are all so far up our own asses that a few people might be noticing you, but most people aren't. People are looking straight through you because they are so focused on their own stuff. So that's, you got that going for you. Try not to worry too much about what other people are saying. It's okay. Everything's going to be okay. Everybody feels this way. It is normal to feel like this. Totally normal. Yes? All right. Now we're going to talk about a couple of things that we can do. So first and foremost, if you are in a space where you're thinking about not going through with whatever it is that you're training for, I want you to know that that is an option. Quitting is an option. I think sometimes because we have this mindset, and sometimes children is the only time we really experience this, where if you sign up for something, you have to see it through, right? Normally it's because we want children to experience hardship and doing a hard thing or working through doubts and fears. But sometimes it becomes a little too regimented or a little too rigid, and we don't give ourselves the opportunity to just make choices and trust choices. And quitting, I'm putting it in air quotes in case you're listening, quitting is often framed as something that losers do, or something that quitters do, or something that, people who aren't committed do and weren't able to stick with the hard thing. And I don't think that's always true. I think sometimes quitting is giving yourself the opportunity to say, you know what, this thing that I thought I really wanted isn't filling my cup, and I gave it a try, and I want to try something else. I don't like it. I'm not enjoying this. I don't need to be doing this. Life's hard enough. I don't need to put myself in a position to, I have nothing to prove to myself. I'm going to go do something else. And that's okay if that's where you're at. It's okay to pivot. It's okay to do something different. Now, If you are just feeling like I can't do this, I'm not good enough, then I would encourage you to just acknowledge that today is one day, or maybe it's one day in a string of really bad, like challenging, soul crushing days. And that's something that we can work on. One of the reasons I launched our Badass Lady Gang training experiences and our Badass Lady Gang training team is very few people are giving runners all of the tools that I know are so important to working on the mental side of things. We know that running is very hard. We know that physically running is hard, but running is a lot harder when you don't work on the mental game. So much of what we do is work on the mental game so that you can develop self-efficacy and this, do you believe that you will succeed, and an understanding of that without just gassing you up and asking you to say, I believe I can do hard things, which I hope is true. But there's more to it. And there's a lot of tools and tactics and strategies and ways that we can get curious about what you're thinking and feeling and believing and how you're behaving. All of that goes into the mix. And it's not just up for you to like work your way through. There's things that you can do to make it easier. So a lot of that is what I talk about here on the podcast. But if you're looking for other options to help you through this, please think about joining the team, our Badass Lady Gang training team, or joining a training experience. Our running plans also give you little TLDRs of the journals, but like sometimes talking through everything is the most like important piece of the puzzle, and hearing from people and working through things in real time is how it happens. So highly recommend training experiences, highly recommend the team. But I do think it's important that we take a second to ask yourself, what needs to happen going forward? I don't want you to make a decision today. If you're thinking about quitting, if you're thinking about stopping or pivoting, let's make that decision maybe in 2 or 3 days, maybe next week. Today, we're just making decisions on what needs to happen right now. I think one of the best things you can do right now for yourself is take some fuel. Do you have an energy gel? Do you have some candy? Do you have chews? Do you have fuel in your hydration vest or bottle? If you don't have anything, can we go find something? Can we text someone to come bring you something? Can you find the nearest 7-Eleven or bodega or store so that you can pop in and maybe get some Nerds clusters or a banana, or go get an ice cream. I don't know what time of year it is, but like go get something. Put some calories in you to like help you just on that front. We'll talk about fueling and hydration in a little bit. But for now, let's just handle the fact that like, one, are you safe? Are you physically hurt, or are you mentally struggling? Are you hurt, or are you hurting? Because remember, if you're hurt, if you're feeling pain and you're forcing yourself through it because you think I need to get X amount of mileage today, you are doing yourself a disservice. And the best thing you can do is to stop. So there's a pain scale, 0 out of 10. If your pain is above a 4 out of 10, not discomfort, right? We all know that running is incredibly painful. Oftentimes your legs get heavy, you feel like shit, it hurts, it's hard. But pain is like that little voice in your head that says something's wrong. That's not right. What is that? Listen to that. If it's above a 4 out of 10, stop running. Call it, the day is done. Maybe we get in like a car. Maybe we call someone to come get us. Maybe we walk back to our car or back to our home or back to the public transportation. It's okay to call it if you're feeling hurt. Next, we figure out how we're going to handle this. How much more do you have to run today? Is it something that we can walk for a little bit more? Do you want to try walk running? Maybe we're gonna run until that voice starts getting really loud, and then we're gonna walk. Maybe you're gonna do 2 minutes of running, 1 minute of walking. Maybe you're gonna do 1 minute of walking and 1 minute of running. Maybe you need some intervals right now to get you through it, or you can run intuitively. Walk or run, it doesn't matter, but let's just keep moving forward if you're making the decision to keep moving forward. If you're already stopped, that's okay. Keep listening. But what needs to happen right now? What do you need to do? And then we need to talk about what your body actually needs. We talked about fueling. Are you getting enough fuel, and are you getting enough hydration? Let's actually just jump ahead and talk about fueling and hydration. So If you're doing long runs right now, if you're on a long run, I want you to ask yourself what your fueling and your hydration strategy is. And if you're like, what does that mean? Here's why this is important. It feels overwhelming and big, but it really isn't. It means writing down how much fluid you're getting in an hour and what you're taking. If you're like, well, I'm drinking a couple of sips of Gatorade here or there, that's not specific enough. Let's take one bottle of Gatorade. How often are you drinking that Gatorade? Is it every 10 minutes? So that by the end of an hour, you're drinking 12 ounces of Gatorade. Maybe you have a hydration pack, and in that hydration pack, you have Scratch. How much are you drinking in an hour? Maybe every 10 minutes, you're taking 2 big pulls, right? So that's one of the things that we're calculating. I always encourage everybody to make a Google sheet and just write all this down. Write down what your plan is, and then write down what you think you actually did, and then note how you felt. Note how your pee is. Ideally, your pee is Chick-fil-A lemonade yellow. It's not too clear. It's not too concentrated. But that's not the best way to tell how hydrated you are, but it is information that we have. Next, we talk fueling. So ideally, we're shooting for 40 to 60 grams of carbohydrates an hour. Most people are really, really underfueled. How was your fueling this morning before you started? How did you eat yesterday? Normally when someone's having like a crash and burn kind of a run where they are crying on a street corner or just like really, really, really feeling like they can't do it, I always ask them to go through a checklist of things, right? First, how did you eat? Did you get enough food yesterday and today? How is your hydration level? Are you dehydrated? Did you drink enough yesterday? Did you drink enough today? Did you drink enough on the run? Look at your hydration level. How are you sleeping? Are you sleeping okay? Maybe you're not. Maybe you're like, LOL, I never sleep okay. Great. That's data that we can use that might be leading to why you're feeling the way you're feeling right now. And I'm not going to tell you make sleep more of a priority because I know for a lot of people, it's just like not realistic. Do your best. Next, we're going to talk about stress level. How are you feeling on the stress front? Are you feeling particularly beat up by life? Is there a lot on your plate right now and you kind of feel like you're just on the verge of crying at any moment anyway? Where's your stress level at? That really influences how you feel and triggers on things like run or during exercise. And it just is what it is. So we manage it and we ride those tidal waves when they come up. My goal with you is to become a big wave surfer so that we can surf the baby waves, we can surf the big waves, and every once in a while when we get a bomb, we can ride that bomb and you feel confident riding the bomb. You feel scared riding the bomb, a healthy amount of fear, a respectful amount of fear because shit is hard and heavy. But it's not something that you're like, am I about to die? Is this the time that this tidal wave pulls me under? That's what I want out of this. So we're paying attention to our fueling. We're writing down just in the same way we wrote down our hydration strategy. We're writing down our fueling strategy. No more, well, I took a gel at mile 3 and then I took another one at mile 6 after I forgot to take one at 5. No, we're going to make a plan and we're going to write down how much sodium and how much carbohydrates is in both your hydration and your fueling. And we're going to shoot to getting to a place between now and your race day where you're going to feel comfortable getting in 50 to 60, maybe even upwards of 90 grams of carbs an hour because you have to train your gut. This is not a hydration fueling podcast, but I do want you to start to become mindful about hydration and fueling before, during, and after your runs. Next, if you are in your premenopausal years, I want you to ask yourself where you are in your cycle. Is that something that's weighing on you right now? Are you in the high hormone phase of your cycle? If you're perimenopausal, where are you on the roller coaster? Have you everything just been feeling crappy and shitty? Are you feeling anxious? Are you feeling low energy or high energy or just beat up? Same thing with postmenopause. I want you to ask yourself what's going on with your training. Are you doing too many hard days back to back to back to back to back? Are you getting enough protein? All of that stuff. And then last but not least, I just want you to ask yourself what your trainings looked like the last 2 weeks. Are you running on really, really, really tired legs? Are you trying to do a really, really long run on inconsistent legs? There's a lot of reasons why we might be able to pinpoint why we're crying on a street corner. But if none of those things ring a bell and none of it rings true and you're kind of like, everything's fine, everything in my life is not ideal, but like I'm okay, I'm managing, I'm not particularly stressed, I'm sleeping okay, I'm fueled, I'm hydrated, all those things, then we're in a bad run. We're just having a really, really crappy, challenging day. And they happen. So this is an opportunity to practice what it's like when you feel like you're about to like truly wipe out on a wave. Because here's the thing about surfing big waves, you are going to wipe out every once in a while. And it's a matter of staying calm and trusting that you can get yourself back to the surface and that you'll make it out of there alive, right? I know that's dramatic, but it is a fairly like accurate kind of an analogy. This is something I learned when my brother died, and it's something my therapist worked with me on, is how to surf the big waves, right? The waves that you can't see coming sometimes. And then most importantly, it always feels good when you can really navigate the wave and ride the wave, but you're going to fall off the wave a lot. So feeling like I'm going to make it through this when you fall off, instead of, is this the one that's going to drag me down? So that's what we're doing right now. I know, again, this is just running. It's not that dramatic, but sometimes it feels like it. Running is one of those things that it really likes when you're dealing with breathing rates and high respiration, it can trigger panic attacks. So there is a chance that you had a panic attack right now. There's also a chance that you're just really, really, really frustrated and just really struggling with a lot of doubt and fear, or you're just having a crappy day and you don't want to be here anymore. So many things can be true at the same time. So let's just focus on this. Coming back to fueling and hydration, this is all I'm going to say about it. Low blood sugar turns you into an emotional chaos. So we really want to make sure you're getting enough carbohydrates to be sharp, and you're giving your body everything that it needs to be able to Forrest Gump it, run and run and run and run and run and run. Dehydration makes everything harder. Fluid, water, and sports drink, it's how we make our blood thin enough to like cycle, because when you get dehydrated, it turns sludgy. Think of like corn syrup or honey versus water. We want to make sure that your body can cool yourself down with sweat so that it can evaporative cool, because when you're running, and especially running far, you heat up and you need to be able to keep your body at a place where it's healthy and okay. So sweating needs to be happening. And when you're dehydrated, everything feels so much harder. Sometimes when you're having a little men-TB, all your body is doing is trying to tell you that it needs more calories, more carbohydrates, more water, more something like that. So we want to be listening to those signals if that's what it is. Those are like little quick fixes that can have major, major differences in your running. But that's the fueling and hydration piece of the puzzle. So keep making sure that you're giving yourself the carbohydrates, but make that plan going forward. So coming back to the brain of it all, and the thinking about like Inside Out and all those characters inside your head, your brain's job is to keep you safe. And sometimes it is your head that makes everything a lot harder, because all it's really trying to do is keep you safe, and it's reacting to perceived threats. So the fight, flight, stay response is something that happens during physical challenges, which isn't fair because you're obviously not under threat and you're doing something by choice, but it's very real to feel that fight or flight kind of a response. We just want to be able to start to pick up when it's happening so that we can differentiate between discomfort and danger, right? This is why the mental game is so important. Today, something I want you to start to do is start a practice of how many times today did you start to tell yourself, I can't do this? Did you say that at all? The answer is probably yes. And that's okay that you did, but it's something that we want to start talking about. We want to start turning I can't do this to this is really challenging. This is really hard, and I'm trying my best. That's just the shift that we're looking to make, right? Because I can't do this isn't necessarily accurate self-talk, because it hasn't happened yet and we don't know. All you can do is try your best. So if we can get to a place where you can acknowledge how challenging something is, or how hard something is, or how hot you are, or how cold you are, or how frustrated you are, and then say this is hard, it is going to be so much easier to continue to put one foot in front of the other instead of tying ankle weights around your ankles, shackling yourself in an I can't do this, so that when that tidal wave hits, you sink like a rock. We don't want that. We want you to be able to pull those little strings and inflate that vest with air so that you pop to the top, right? When you crash out on a wave, We want to be able to pull the strings and not have ankle weights tied to our ankles. Another thing that tends to happen when you're having a very, very crash out mentee B during a run is I'm the only one struggling like this. Everyone else is doing this better. Everyone else seems to have such an easier time. Everyone else is so much faster, so much stronger, running so much further, having so much more fun, all of that shit. Everyone struggles like this. Running is hard for everyone. Yes, it is true that some people are more innately gifted and struggle a little bit less, but everybody has these moments. You are not alone in this. Everyone's been here too. Then last but not least, we talked a little bit about this, but if you're in that headspace of I should quit, give yourself a couple of days before you make that decision. And if you want to get to that place, I want you to spend some time journaling about what you want out of this training experience and why you're here. And if the answer is a little bit too, I want to prove something to myself, this, that, or the other, how can we make a shift into more of a process-oriented place so that regardless of what happens, whether race day happens or not, you're feeling fulfilled, rewarded, this like sense of I'm worth it. This is worth it. I'm in control. I'm in the driver's seat. I get to choose what happens next mindset. But can we focus more on the training than on the race day? Can we focus more on what your personal best looks like right now and less about this is what I was supposed to do today? Things like that. In Badass Lady Gang, we talk a lot about coins in the coin jar. So everything that you do, rest days, meditation sessions, strength training sessions, yoga sessions, walks, cross training days, runs, speed work, long runs, going to therapy, doing your journaling, fueling hydration strategies, practicing, things like that. Everything is deposits. Everything that you do is putting coins in the coin jar. Oftentimes, especially when we're doing long endurance races like a half marathon or a marathon, we put way too much focus on the longest long runs, when in reality, it is the sum of everything that happens in training that matters most. If we think about that coins in the coin jar and we're thinking about the fact that every single time you're doing stuff, you are depositing coins in the coin jar, think about a week. Right? Let's say a speed play session is 75 cents. A normal run is 50 cents. A shorter run is 25 cents. A strength training session is 50 cents. A cross training day or a walk is 25 cents. A rest day is 25 cents. The sum of your week will be more than your long run. And yet we put all of the focus on the long run. And the long run is just one pillar of your training plan. It is the sum of your training that matters most. There is no set distance that you have to run in order to be ready for race day. I have coached thousands of people, and I can promise you that these races are run with heart. That doesn't mean that training for them doesn't help. Your day will go significantly better with a certain amount of coins in the coin jar. But I always tell everybody, think of it like this. With our training, the goal is to save a certain amount of money. But if we can use like Disneyland as an example, the goal is to get through the gates, not to have a shit ton of money to spend in the parks. Will you have more fun if you like have a shit ton of money to spend on food and, clothing or toys or experiences? Sure. But it doesn't mean that you can't have the best time ever if you show up to the gates $10 under. Someone will probably spot you $10, right? That's race day. If you go into a race undertrained, there's things you can do to get energy from other places. Energy is something that we create. Fueling helps, training helps, right? There's physical adaptations, literal physiological changes that change the way that we utilize energy that will help you feel stronger and run better. But to a certain degree, there's a level of grit and self-determination that will get you to that finish line if you really, really want to, in going into it undertrained. So remember, coins in the coin jar. That's what we're after. Everything that we do matters. Everything that we do. Look for the little victories. Look for all of the things that you're doing in training and acknowledge it. Don't just focus on your longest long runs. Self-efficacy is a huge one, a huge thing that we focus on in Badass Lady Gang, this idea of whether or not you will succeed. Normally, too many people focus on things like I need to run 20 miles or 18 miles as my longest long run before I run a marathon in order to believe I can run 26.2 or things like that, instead of looking for days in your training where I remember on that one long run, that 2-hour long run where I had such a bad day, I felt like absolute shit and I didn't give up and I got through it. That is evidence from your life that you can do hard things. I remember that day crying on that street corner and wanting to give up, and I just got myself to keep putting one foot in front of the other. That is evidence that you can do this thing. Then we look to other stuff. Can we look to people you look up to who can show you your training and remind you, like, I know you can do it because I'm looking at the evidence. Who do you look up to? Who do you believe in? Can you find other people that you can see yourself in and their experiences to confirm that you can do this thing, right? Maybe not perfectly because they didn't do it perfectly, and they're proof that this thing, if you believe in yourself, you can make it happen. Look at your training, look at your training journal, look at the coins in the coin jar. What are the things that you can do to help yourself get to a place of I can, I will, right? I can at least try. We really want you focusing more on the process of it all. What am I focusing on in the next 20 minutes? What am I focusing on in the next 10 minutes? What am I focusing on in the next 2 miles or 3 miles or 5K or whatever versus finish line, finish line, finish line, finish line, finish line. The marathon is something that I always use an example because people love to do this. When you start a marathon and you hit mile 1 or first K, people love to go 41K to go or 25.2 miles to go, which is like not what you do when you're running a marathon, because that is such an insane distance that of course you're going to have a moment of panic. So we don't focus on the finish line. We focus on chunks. We focus on chunks that feel manageable. We focus on 20 minutes at a time or 5K at a time or 2 miles at a time, or we focus on our next hydration stop or our next time that we fuel, where our people are. We are always working in bite-sized chunks that feel manageable. We are never looking at big picture. And then in that, we're thinking of things like, okay, every time I get in my head, I'm going to smile, or I'm going to start counting 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, or maybe I'm going to start moving towards things. Okay, just get to that stop sign. Okay, just get to that little kid in the red. Or maybe I'm going to count dogs, right? Maybe I'm going to give high fives. Maybe I'm going to smile. Maybe I'm going to start talking to people around me or ask for help if I need help. Maybe I'm going to put on a podcast or an audiobook, or maybe I'm going to call someone, or maybe I'm just going to focus on taking really big, deep breaths and then letting my air out for 2 seconds longer than I'm breathing in. Maybe that's something that helps you. Mantras. There's so many things that you can do. Literally thinking about energy and pulling energy up from the ground. There's so many tools available to you to help you stay present in the moment and work yourself through really challenging, sticky spots. But that's process. That's the power of working through process stuff versus outcome. And then remind yourself that it just hasn't happened yet. Let's turn I can't run a half marathon into I haven't run a half marathon yet, right? The goal is not to run the thing before you do the thing. You don't need to prove to yourself you can do something before you try. It's also okay to fall short. No one's looking for perfect. We're just looking for the courage to see what happens when you give yourself your best. That's what we're focusing on. The secret to running is tied to beliefs, values, and identity. So remind yourself that every day is an opportunity to discover, explore, and learn new things. We're looking for consistency, not perfection. And consistency means accepting that there will be days that you're not super proud of, or days that don't go well, or days that are not fun. It is how you get through really hard, challenging days, or how you bounce back from major wipeouts that lead to consistency, because the more you wipe out, the less scary it gets. This is just some of the first wipeouts, and the first wipeouts rock you, or the first wipeout in a long time wipes you. It is really, really, really scary when you feel like you have a handle on things and then the rug gets pulled out from under you. So remember, you're doing your best. It is okay to not have all the answers, and it's okay to make mistakes. It is okay to think that you know what you should be doing and then to make every choice that makes things harder. This shit is really, really hard. But at the end of the day, the only thing that you can do is either make the decision to brush yourself off and try again tomorrow, or to keep putting one foot in front of the other. It doesn't need to be pretty and it doesn't need to be perfect. All you need to do is give yourself your best. You're not alone. You're doing great. Everything is going to be what it will be, right? I'm not even going to say everything's going to be fine because I don't know. And honestly, it doesn't matter because it hasn't happened yet. All you need to do is make a decision. That decision will lead to another decision. And then that decision will lead to another decision. And if you make the decision to stop, that's okay. You can always come back to this another time. Sometimes no is really just not right now. But if you're really just in your feels and feeling really scared after a wipeout, the best thing you can do is to look to see what you could have done differently and then try again and see what happens. It's okay. It's going to be okay. You are doing great. I promise. It's just one day or a string of really crappy days, and there are always more joyful miles ahead. Yes? I'm so sorry you're having a shitty run. I hope you're feeling a little bit better. Kick ass. Take names. Sending you a really big hug. I'll catch you next time.